Well, hello everybody. Happy Monday. This assignment that we're going to start today called Pythagorean Theorem Applied. There's a total of about 19 problems for you to do, or 18 maybe, and it's going to be due tomorrow. So you can do half of it today and half of it on Tuesday, or you can do all of it today and none of it tomorrow, whatever it is that works for you. But what I'm going to do is, just by way of review, is I'm going to work problems 1, 2, 6, and 7. And that way you can get a good review of how to look at these particular pictures and shapes and identify if you're trying to solve for a leg or a hypotenuse as you do these. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with number 1. The directions are to use the Pythagorean theorem for each problem, to solve each problem, and then round to the nearest tenth. So if I look here at number 1, it says, find the distance of the diagonal D. So if I look here, I do have a right triangle, and I know my legs. And because I know my two legs, that means the diagonal that I'm looking for is going to be a hypotenuse. So I'm going to start with my a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And since I know my legs, I'm just going to substitute and do 50 squared plus 52 squared. And all that's going to equal the length of my diagonal, which is c squared. Now remember, everybody, when I see those exponents, that means 50 times 50. And 52 times 52, it doesn't mean 50 times 2 or 52 times 2. Okay? So then let me come over here to my calculator. And I'm going to do 50x squared, which equals 2,500. And 52x squared is 2,704. So when I come back here, I'm going to have 2,704 plus 2,500. All of that equals 2c squared. So now I'm going to use my calculator and add those two up. 5,204 is my answer. So the next thing I do is find the square root of both sides. And that way I can isolate my variable c. Second function key, square root. So I'm rounding to the 10th, so I look next door. Is it 5 or more? Add one more, less than 4, shut the door. So that 1 is less than 4, so I have 72.1. So my answer here then is going to be C equals 72.1. All right, so that's number 1. All right, so now I'm going to go over to number 2, which is the same thing. It says find the distance of the diagonal. So I know that since I'm looking for that diagonal, and the diagonal is across from the right triangle or the right angle, and it is a right triangle, that there again I'm going to use my a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And again, I know the two legs, so I know a and b. So I'm going to have 16 squared plus 22 squared equals c squared. So 16 squared is 256. Forgot the other one was. It was 22 squared. 484. All right, so when I add these two up, I get 740. So I have 740 equals c squared. So now again, I find the square root of both sides. Oops, that should be a c, not a 6. All right, so when I find the square root of both sides, so I'm looking for the square root of 740. I get 27.20294102. So again, the 2 is in my 10th position. I look next door. There's a 0 that is no more than 4. So we shut the door and we just write 27.2 as our answer. All right, so that's going to be your answer for number 2. Now I'm going to come over here this time to number 6. And number 6 says to find the length of x. Okay? So when I'm looking for the length of x, x is right here. So I know 18. So that means I know my hypotenuse because it's across from that right angle symbol. So I'm looking for this for the leg x. Now if I look over here at this 12, all right, this shape next to my triangle is a square. So what is unique about the square is that all sides are the same. So if this side is 12, that means that side has to be 12 as well. So I know the hypotenuse and I know a side is 12. Okay? So that means I'm going to have 12 squared plus that x squared, which we could let be b, which we could let be b squared. And then 18 is my hypotenuse. So we'd have 18 squared. Okay, so 12 squared. 12 times 12, I know, is 144. But 18 squared, I don't know. So I'll come over here to my calculator. 18 squared, and that's 324. Okay, so what I do now then is I need to subtract 144 from both sides. So I can isolate b by itself. So when I do that, I now have b squared. So 324 minus 144. That gives me 180. So b squared equals 180. So now I take the square root of both sides. And that gives me 13.41640,786. So I'm rounding to the 10th. The 4 is in my 10th position. I look next door. It's no more than 4. So we shut the door. 13.4. And that would be your length of this side over here. This x is going to equal 13.4. All right, so if I come over here to number 7, and that one says to find the distance from city B to city C. So from B to C, again, we have a right triangle drawn. That's a leg because the distance opposite my right angle, or the hypotenuse, is 10. And I know my other leg, which is 6. So, again, we use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we have 6 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared. So 6 squared, or 6 times 6, I know is 36. And then 10 squared, or 10 times 10, is 100. All right, so same thing. I subtract 36 from both sides. And then I find the square root of b squared. And those cancel out, so that leaves me with b equals the square root of 64, which I know is 8, but we'll go ahead and do it on our calculator anyway. So b equals 8. All right, so you should be able to do the rest of these on your own. Like I said, this is due tomorrow, but do make sure you check your assignment tomorrow, because I will probably have a short activator up there for you to do. But this entire thing is due tomorrow. Please do it on a separate sheet of paper. Show me all of your steps, and if you have any questions, you can email me or you can meet me on Google Meet. All right, have a great day.